Good morning, everybody. My name is Darby Allen. I'm the Regional Fire Chief and the Director of Emergency Management. We're giving a media update this morning. Before we get started in the technical side of the information, I'd like to call Mayor Melissa Blake to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Well, good morning and thank you, everyone. It's an incredible honor to be able to serve in a community like Wood Buffalo during some of our more pressing crises, because what I experience, and along with my council colleagues, is that this community bonds together like no other. When we have the unnecessary evacuations that we had last night, the state of local emergency, it seems to up our game in terms of what people in this region are willing to do to help each other out. And I just want to give my kudos and credit not only to the people who have been so patient as they were being evacuated or asked to shelter in place. The receiving station that we have down at our facility at McDonald Island has been beyond expectation in terms of the ability to provide comfort and care. And the folks that are in there actually serving, registering people, having the little community shops set up for meeting the needs of people as they go through this difficult time. Social media has been the ability to connect people with the opportunity, and we've also set up a volunteer hotline. We are also so very lucky to have the incredible professionals that are working on this situation the way that they are, and you will get your technical updates coming very shortly. But for the people that are on the ground doing the firefighting, for the RCMP and our peace officers who are helping manage the community, and for every person in the Regional Emergency Operations Center and our incredible partners in the media, I think it is imperative that we stay connected throughout the duration of this event and any others that cause us challenges. And again, the clarity and purpose of information is to ensure that we are able to give the best quality of information to our residents. I regret that they don't come quite as frequently as what I would like to see for our public, but as you stand here today and you know that we're still in a local state of emergency, we're breathing pretty good air at this end of the community, but as you come through the valley, you know it's not quite as good. So other messaging for our citizens is that if you have breathing difficulties, and even if you don't and you're in the very smoky area, very highly advised that you stay indoors and that you have the freshest air source possible. If you have air conditioning, you're able to run that. And if you do require attention, make sure you get what you need for that, because the wind and the direction and the weather is really going to come to bear, even in times where the fires haven't been as close in proximity to the urban center. In terms of the folks that have anteed up and given incredible support, again, I want to thank everybody from the folks on the ground that are fighting this, the flyers in the air, the people around this room. I can't be more appreciative than what I am, but ask always that people keep first safety in mind. And when we think about the opportunity to view this extraordinary event that's happening in the community, we ask first that you take care of your safety and that you don't interfere with any of the things that are happening on the ground. There's probably much more I should be saying, but at this point I think you benefit more by having the opportunity to hear from our experts that are on this task. So I'm going to turn the microphone back to our Regional Fire Chief, who is actually the head of this emergency operation for all intents and purposes, and let him bring you the next portion of the update, but we'll take questions at the end of this as well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, so firstly, I just want to update. We do have another fire going on in town right now. It's been known as the North Fire or the Diamond Stone Ridge Fire. That fire was announced as being on hold yesterday around 4 o'clock. It's currently still in that situation. We currently have about 25 members, both Forestry and Regional Emergency Services, fighting that fire. We're confident that that is going to remain in hold and then be extinguished. We have changed. We had some parameters yesterday around what businesses could access and where they could go. Today we've lifted those restrictions, and businesses as usual in that Taganover area. So that is that update. The main update today is what's been known as the West Fire, and the information that I'm going to give you is relevant to that. I just want to point out that this map I'm holding, you've all been sent a digital copy of that map. So when I use terms and locations, you'll be able to see those on the map, and then we can certainly talk more about that as we go on. So the update this morning is there is no significant change to the fire overnight, which was certainly good news for us. The fire didn't really extend in size. It didn't gain ferocity. In fact, it calmed down quite a bit overnight. The situation this morning was that we were faced with a tremendous amount of low smoke cover. We had what's called an inversion, which means it pushes the smoke down. There's very little or no wind. Generally, no wind is a good news story for us. The bad news side of it is that when the aircraft go up in the air, they can't see where the front of the fire or any of the fire perimeter is. So as the day progresses, the humidity levels, which were 77% about 5 o'clock this morning, will reduce. That inversion will lift, that smoke will lift, and then it will better enable the forestry guys to see exactly what's going on and where to dump that water. We do know already that you'll see a tanker that's been flying over since about 9 o'clock this morning. That is laying fire retardant on the gap between where we think the front of the fire is and Highway 63. It's laying that retardant right along that strip in there. And that's proved to be very effective over the years. I want to let you know that the schools in the municipality, and specifically the urban surface area, are operating as normal. There is one school that isn't open today, and that's two schools. It's just one location. The Greeley Road and the Islamic School is not open. The 2 mandatory evacuation zones are still in force, that being Centennial Park and Prairie Creek, and the rest of the area in the Gregoire location is under shelter in place. We plan on reevaluating the status of those evacuation zones later on in the day. Typically, with the conditions that we're expecting today, we're expecting the worst fire conditions to happen around 3 o'clock this afternoon. So we're hopeful that by around 5:30 or so, we will be able to update people whether those mandatory restrictions are still in place or that they've been lifted. I mentioned the tanker had already come through this morning. We are getting a tremendous amount of calls from the wonderful people who live in this area. It's heartwarming, it's wonderful. For people who are calling in to volunteer, the reality is that we have all of our volunteer roles filled right now. We really have nothing specific right now that we can ask you to do. However, what you can do is, if you wish to volunteer and at least you get your name on a list, you can do so at ess@rmwb.ca, and then we will contact you if we need you. And then you'll also be registered on there for any future events where we may need volunteers for this type of situation. Again, just due to the wonderful people and businesses in this area, we're getting lots of calls with regards to donations. People want to give money, people want to give goods, people want to give services. I just want to let everybody know that we don't need money. We have all the resources right now that we need. And as much as we appreciate those offers, we haven't accepted anything at this time. Having said that, if you are a concerned person or a business that thinks you have something to provide, you can call 780-762-3681 and advise us of what you're offering, and we're logging all that information as we are with our volunteers so that we're able to use that information as needed. I spoke about the reevaluation of the mandatory zones and how that fire behaviour really starts getting more ferocious around 3. So again, we'll update that later on in the day. I did expect for Bernie Schmidt, who's in charge of Forestry, to be here today, but he's a busy man. So, he's here. I'd like to introduce Bernie Schmidt, and Bernie will give an update with regards to the forestry side of things. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Derby. Good morning. Just to give you an update on the current situation, the fire itself is between 500 hectares and 750 hectares in size. Very difficult at this time to get a precise size on the fire due to the smoke, but we are working on that. Yesterday we had crossover conditions, meaning that the temperature was 23 degrees Celsius and below 23% RH. We're expecting the same conditions today, which is going to give us some difficulties in controlling this fire. Winds are now forecasted out of the southeast, and we will be dealing with that today. Currently we have 100 firefighters on order to come to the fire. We have currently on the fire itself, we have 1 unit crew, which is 20-man crew, and we have 2 hack crews that are on the fire. Those are 4-man crews, so a total of 28 crews, plus we have a type 1 incident management team that's here right now, and they're assessing the fire as we speak. As far as rotary wing are concerned, helicopters, we have 7 helicopters assigned to the fire. We also have a heavy helicopter that's been ordered to come in with a mobile retardant pit to lay down some retardant line. And we have currently 2 air tanker groups assigned to the fire. You've seen them flying here already this morning. We're assessing for possible skimming opportunities off of Gregoire Lake to get the CL215Ts or 802 on amphibs up here. And we're assessing for additional air tanker action at this time. So that's pretty much the update I have. Sure, we taking questions or?
Yeah, we do want to stay close
Sure.
here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. We're able to take some questions now, if you have any.
Sorry, can you go over the resources again? I'm a little unclear.
Do you want to do the resources?
Yep.
Was it 100?
We have 100 firefighters that are ordered to come to the fire. They're obviously located all throughout Alberta, and so mobilizing them is taking a little bit of time, but currently on the fire is 28 men, 28 firefighters.
And then how many more in terms of equipment? What else is coming? As opposed
We have 7 helicopters that are assigned to the fire itself. Right now, smoke conditions are limiting bucketing at this time, but the air tankers are working. So 2 air tanker groups are working the fire at this time. A Convair 580 and a Electra.
And the difficulty you talked about, what is the difficulty? Can you explain it in simple terms this afternoon, the crossover one?
Okay, so when the temperature in the RH crosses over, that creates some very volatile burning conditions, and so that gives us difficulty in controlling the fire.
And you explain, you expect that today again?
We're expecting that today as well, yes.
Sorry, so with the 128, so is it 128 will be total? Like, is there 100 still to come?
Yes,
And that's just for the south, for the west fire.
that's for this fire, Fire 9, yes.
Yeah, and I was gonna say,
That's okay.
Yesterday you were pretty confident that this could encroach into the town and have that effect. What does that look like right now?
At this time, the fire behavior is at the head of the fire, so at the closest point to Highway 63 and to the community, is laying low. It's ground fire, surface fire, that sort of thing. It hasn't gotten into the crowns yet. It's not a full crown fire at this point. So control difficulties are limited at this time to areas where we've got full crown fire, but that's not threatening the community at this time. But we do have smoke conditions that are limiting flying abilities.
so it's still only 1.2 kilometers away from the community.
Yes.
Yes. I think what's important to note is Our job is to try and ensure the safety of the people who live in this community, and we use all the information we can to try and do that. Yesterday we were faced with a large forest fire with a west wind and nothing in between that and this town. You don't have to be a fire chief to think that's a fairly dangerous situation. So we acted accordingly. I'm more encouraged today that maybe it won't hit town, but yesterday we were pretty confident it was coming, and that's why we evacuated those people. And the slightest sign that we see that people are in jeopardy and safety, we will evacuate again. I just want to say, with respect to the staffing issues, Bernie is talking about his staff, which work for Forestry, which is a provincial organisation. We have REF staff in town 24/7, approximately 34 any minute of the night or day. And we also have many staff what are called on standby, because we realise we may need resources at a couple of minutes' notice. So we have the ability to bring in another 20-30 people whenever we need them.
How does this compare to your other seasons? Is this early for you? Is this typical?
I don't know if it's specifically early, but what we do know about this year, and Bernie might want to comment a little bit more, that we know that the levels of, it's way drier this year than it's been for a long time. I heard 50 years, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it's really dry, and we need to have discussions on what we can do about trying to encourage people not to light fires and go into the bush and all those things. But it's certainly come more ferociously in the years gone by. I mean, we've had 4 significant fires in the last 5 days or so. So that's pretty intense. So hopefully, nature's done its thing and it'll leave us alone for a little bit, but we'll have to see.
Darby, after the 95 fires, we put a fire break all the way around the city. Did those help you out yesterday?
I don't think it helped in this specific fire, did it, Bernie?
No, the dry grass.
Yeah, because what's happening with a lot of this is, even with a fire break over the years, you end up with grass growing in the bottom of it, and then over the winter it dries, and then the fire just travels along in that grass. So it's beneficial, but I don't think it was a great benefit on this occasion.
Do we know what caused this fire?
We don't know what causes any of these fires in the last little while. They're all under investigation, and I'll make no other comment on that.
You haven't ruled anything out?
No, sir. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close this one off then. We will evaluate the day. What's the fire alarm?
That's the Electra. That's the Electra.
That's called the Electra, for those of you that are interested. And then we will assess again when there'd be a good time to do this again, maybe. Updates will be coming out on a time basis, or any updates that are deemed really relevant that you should know about. And thank you for your time today.